This is Garrett. He's won the last few FNMs with this deck. He's going to tell you a little bit about it.
Alright, we start off with the 1-drops. This is obviously green-white humans. Run 4 Avacyn's Pilgrims. Mana fixes, gives a +1/+1 counter to champion, which leads us to champion. The best 1-drop for the deck. The best way to start off any game. If you can protect him or get him out early, you really overrun an opponent fast just because of the sheer amount of number of creatures that you can put out. The 2-drops, we have a total of 10, and that's by design. 4 Skin Shifters, 4 Mayors, 4 Thalia, and that works with the Chancellor at the Tangle. This is all setting up your turn 1 play. If you reveal a Chancellor in your opening hand, you can have Thalia, Mayor, Skin Shifter out, or a Pilgrim and a Champion. Big turn 1 play no matter what you have in your opening hand if you reveal a Chancellor. Even if it's something that's not ideal, you're already avoiding mental missteps or any other form of mana leak, any kind of counter spells just by playing this stuff turn 1, especially if you're playing the Thalia. Silver Blade Paladin. With a Marin Crusader, you lose the pro black-green, but you gain a lot more damage because he's giving something else. Double Strike. He can act as a slingshot for another creature coming in, or as a bomb for a creature already in play, ready to attack. 4-drop is Rider's Gavany. Obviously debatable over Hero Blade Hold. You could run either, but I prefer Riders. Gives you an entire board protection from creatures, lets you hit with swords, lets you hit with anything, has won a lot of games for me simply because you're now unblockable as soon as he hits the field. Whereas with your Blade Hold, you'd have to wait at least 1 turn to attack. The 5-drop is Gideon. That's really the last, not last resort, but last play for the deck. Can obviously open up the entire opponent's field if you get his +2 and they have a lot of creatures out. Can destroy a threat. He's really the only removal main board for the deck. So wait for an opponent to attack, next turn play Gideon, destroy it. And he also has synergy with Swords, Riders, Silver Blade Paladin, because whenever he becomes a human, he can interact with all of these. Giving double strikes, swing for 12, making him human, unblockable by your opponent's creatures, all of this, which also you can play Revenge of the Hunted, which is a 3-of in this deck. Play 4 at your equal cost, and you're way ahead, or wait till turn 6, turn 7, and use it as your finisher. It's the board wipe for green. It is devastating for an opponent playing creatures. It is unexpected for a control deck to deal with because you have double strike, because you have first strike, and all of their creatures have to block them, or they're dead. Either way, you come out really far ahead whenever you can resolve Revenge of the Hunted. Lands, 4 counter souls, mana fixes, obvious counter spell, protection, but you gotta watch out for Ghost Quarters. There's no way to protect against Ghost Quarters. Fortunately, if they Ghost Quarter your caverns, later on you can play and use Gavany Township. Even with that, this is more of a late game play, but it combos very well with Silver Blade Paladin getting double strike. And basically with double strike you get 2 damage instead of 1. And the other extra toughness really helps out because, as you can see with the deck, there are very little high toughness creatures. 4 Sunpetal Groves, 4 Range of Arch Thickets. Playing your 3rd land, playing a Range of Arch Thicket after your 3rd land, you're not really moving at a fast pace at that point in the game, so I don't mind running 4 of them. drawing a Sun Petal Grove as your turn 1 play is bad, but I'd rather have the mana because you do run a lot of double white creatures, and you have to be able to activate Skin Shifter's ability, which costs 1 green. So the mana base has to be this spread out, has to be this kind of a gambit to work. And then you run Foul Plains, Foul Forests. And that's the deck. Overall, you get a lot of good matchups against control decks. You have a little bit of rough time playing against any kind of speed aggro deck. You have answers in the sideboard for both, but pretty consistent deck. A little bit mid-range, a little bit aggro, kind of right in the middle, kind of, turn 4, turn 5. I'm going to beat you right there. And so it's very consistent. It's very hard for an opponent to guess with this deck because you can drop so many bombs. A lot of this stuff has the immediate effect whenever it comes into play. Gideon can do something as soon as she comes into play. Silver Blade Paladin can buff something as soon as she comes into play. Thalia can affect the board. Mayor can buff all your creatures. Riders can. Swords can. You're not waiting a turn to do stuff with this. Whereas, really the only other deck that can say that would be a red X deck. So it's got that aggro feel, but with the big toughness, big power of a green deck. And that's pretty much it. Alright, back here talking about the sideboard now. Starting off, one of the tougher matchups for this deck is aggro. Aggro with spot removal would be bad, but without spot removal, you can usually resolve and deal damage or defend with your near heath pilgrims. Play this over Batterskull because of the speed, because you can get it out turn 1, turn 2. The lifelink is a big game, especially with your double strike, with your protection. It really makes an opponent hesitate from attacking. Moving Out Tracker for stuff that's out of reach. Any creatures that you don't think that you can deal with. It breaks a Venture Lock, can respond to a Delver Flip, any kind of flyers. The deck really doesn't have a lot of anti-flyers, but he can come in and help you out a lot with that. Grafdigger's Cage shuts down Birthing Pod, zombies, all kinds of graveyard interaction, any kind of flashback, pretty much a staple in any of my sideboards. Spellskite. I actually thought about running one of these main and one in the sideboard because you run the Soulbound, because you run the Riders of Gavany. You don't want to get Vapor Snagged, you don't want to get shocked, incinerated, stuff like that, all the spot removal. But because it's Phyrexian mana for this deck, you really don't feel like you can utilize it too well. But he's in there, still great in this format because he steals swords, steals Angelic Destiny, all these big enchants. And if you're running into any of that, he obviously comes in and paying the 2 life is no big deal at all. Moira, one of the big board wipes is Black Sun. Infect is still a thing. You never know whenever you're going to face an Infect deck, but Black Sun is pretty consistent in a lot of control decks, so this stops both. Phyrexian Metamorph, aka Geistesing Trap Killer, is in there to kill legendary creatures. If your opponent has a nice artifact that you want to steal or something like that, the 2 life is, again, well worth the cost for what you're bringing it in for. Revoke Existence, Sorcery Speed is fine with me. You're still at risk for someone being a 5 mana, playing the swords and hitting you with it. I'm fine with that because I have the Skin Shifters, because I have the off-color creatures that can block Sword of One Piece or Feast and Famine with white creatures. So Sorcery Speed is fine with me. Exiling is big for me because one player Lynching is still around, and I'd rather exile him than destroy him. Grand Abolisher, control decks, anytime you're getting counterspells, Vapor Snagged, he comes in. Fiend Hunters. If there's a creature that you don't think that you can deal with Riders of Gavany, something that generally just stays on their side of the field, he can come in, any kind of Venture Lock again, but pretty much anything that's going to be out of your reach with your creatures is whenever you want to bring him in. He's not main board simply because he's too slow in the deck. Slave of the Wicked, because Olivia is still in the format. Destroys nobles. Nobles can't be blocked by humans. Those two creatures alone are worth running at least one Slayer on your sideboard if your human's dead. And Surgical Extraction. Feeling the Dread, Surgical Extract it. Day of Judgment. Any of these big control spells that'll slow you down, feel free to pay the 2 life to make sure that your opponent won't ever be able to do that again. And that's it.